Hi, I'm Lazze and I'm teaching people in metal shaping in English wheel, beadroller and shrink and stretcher. No power hammer, no Yoder hammer, no pull max, no planishing hammer either. It's quiet so I can talk to everybody in the class and so we can communicate with each other. On the last video you saw the fiberglass body that I had as a template, and then you saw how far we made in the step 2 class, and then I have finished more of this. So this is more complete now, but it still needs welding and small tweak here and tweak there. It's always necessary to do. As I said earlier, make the body so it's straight. Small dings and things like that, you can always take care of that and fix that. But one thing that I have run into in those step 2 classes is that when we run the bead and we find out that the panel changed or the bead didn't came in the right spot. For example, when we do the roof piece here and then we run the bead on the side here, and this panel doesn't fit the door after we put the bead on. And of course I know what happened when we put the bead on. The bead takes material to create the bead. But I don't want to throw the piece away and start over because we have hours to make the shape of the roof piece here. So in this video I'm going to show you what I'm talking about, how to take care of that. And I think that could be very useful for you, and it was very huge learning curve, learning for me to be able to fix it if I run the bead and it comes out wrong. Because before I thought that, okay, shit, it's scrap. But I'm going to show you. So let me do a little close-up on this video. So here you can see what happened here. So this is the bead that I talked about that we run. On this specific piece, we made the whole top here, the side of the roof, in one piece in the class. But then when I put the bead on here, then I saw that this bead was curved up too much. And it took me a while to figure it out, but the easiest way to take care of that was to cut it here and then adjust this down and make sure that this template is correct, and then tack weld this together again. And it's not a big deal because I can hammer and dollar that after I weld it, and it's okay to do that. I don't want to start over with a new piece. But then I thought, you know, if I run this bead and it comes out wrong, what should I throw the piece away, or should I see if I can fix it? And I found a way now how to take care of it. So I'm going to do a test piece in the Beadroller so you can see that, and then I'm going to show you that it doesn't have the right curve of the bead that I wanted, and how I can take care of that, and we can redo that. And I think that is a really good thing for you to learn, because you see that you are not defeated until you throw the piece away, and you have nothing to lose if you're trying to redo it, and if it doesn't work, it's scrapped before anyway, so you have nothing to lose. So let's do that and then see how far you can make it and if you can save it. And most of the time you actually can save it. And that's in steel. If you do that in aluminum, yes, you can redo it, but you can't redo it time after time after time, because the aluminum will be so brittle or will start to crack. But this is what I'm going to show you on a piece in the Beadroller. So here is a roof panel that we made in the class, but we didn't have time in the class to finish it with the bead on the side here. So this piece here, I'm going to run that in the Beadroller so you can see that, and then we see that it's is not correct and I need to redo it. That's the whole thing. But before you run a bead like this, you need to finish the whole shape of the panel before you put the bead on. So all those templates here needs to be very close. It's going to change a little bit on the side here once I put the bead on there, but at least this template needs to be very, very close to the correct shape. And if those templates are a little off compared to an original one, or a little off to the fiberglass body that I had as a template, or a little off from side to side, if it's in 1/16 of an inch or something like that, you're probably good, because it was tolerances, and Henry Ford's cars, they was good, but they are not the same from side to side. And when you work on them, you will find out that they are not the same from side to side. They didn't have a computer in that time. Everything was by eye and measure, but to just measure, they couldn't get that correct. So those templates need to be correct, and then I have templates for this stuff too, and I have templates so this one should fit there. So I have several templates there, and they need to be on the same spot as the one that I took templates from, and in this case it was the fiberglass body. So let's move the camera over to the bead roller so you can see what dies I'm going to use and how I'm going to run that. So here you can see the dies that I'm going to use for the bead roller. And normally I have the male die on the top, but in this case I would like to see the bead on the outside of the panel. So I'm going to push this down and form it around the bottom die there. So that is a little different, but you never know what the setup. But if the setup works better to flip the dies around, I do that. So now I'm going to run this, and I have the blue line here to follow, and I have a blue line on the outer edge of the female die there. I think I'm going to run this in 2 steps. I think it will be too much to run it in 1 step. So I'm going to crank this down, and you can see here now that I have a new handle on the bead roller. So I put this little knob here, and I really liked it. I have seen Mittler Brothers have that on as a stock on their machine, and it's good. So now I'm going to run that, and I can go small steps. Once I got here, then I need to be very steady on my hand, so I don't do any small need to stay focused. So that's where it looks like now, but I'm going to crank this down more, so I need to find out where it's all the way down, and it looks like it's all the way down when the knob is to the back. And the reason why I don't like to run it 5-6 times is that the chances to do wobbling, that will be bigger risks that will happen. So I prefer to do it in fewer steps as possible. So here it's good to have a strong motor, electrical motor on the bead roller. If you have one with a small, like a windshield wiper motor, it will not do this, so you will be happy with it. You need to have power here. So that's what it looks like now. So let me take this to the table and I will check there and show you what's going to be the next step. So I'm having it on the table now, and I have this template for this, and everything fits very good except for this last tip there. It's probably about 8 inches here. So it starts from here and it changed. And I think it has to do how I'm holding this template when I draw the line from the beginning. If I lay the template flat like that, then it will be where the bead is. But the templates, when I hold that on the fiberglass car or one of the steel cars, it looks like this. So we are a little off there. So I hope you can see the line, that I draw a new line. But the question is, how can I run the bead again? Because if I try to redo it now, it will be very difficult. It will be tough for the motor and for the bead roller. So let me go to the sandbag and smash this out so it's flat, almost flat, and then I go to the English wheel and smooth it out, and then I'm going to follow the new line, and I'm going to start from here and continue after that line, and we will see how that looks like. If for some reason I didn't pay attention to this, or if I thought it was good, but I continue bending this flange in, and I can do that with 2 flat dies in the bead roller. And then after I bent this in, then I see that this is wrong, that this template is wrong. Then what I can do is I can do the same thing. I can go to the sandbag and just smash this out and flat this out, and then probably on the vise a little bit as well. And then I can go to the wheel and roll the whole thing out. But I don't need to redo the whole thing. I can just redo that part there. So let's see how that will work. So I'm over here to the sandbag, and I think I can use the dolly this way and then use the panel like that. And I'm using this plastic mallet that have sand in it, so it's pretty heavy. So it looks terrible, but as I said, you don't have anything to lose to see if you can fix it, instead of starting over and you don't know what happened. It's more fun if you find out the way to fix it. So I can probably hammer it a little bit more. Let me do it from this other side, I think. So that's what it looks like there. So it looks a little ugly, but I can fix that with English wheel. And once I run that bead again, you will barely see the first bead, the first run. And with a little flap disc, I can get those small lines, get rid of those. So let's go over to the English wheel and see how to smooth this out. So I'm over to the English wheel and I'm using the roundest bowl. I'll take this out so you can see it. I'm using this one. Yeah, probably could use number 3 wheel, but this one I have no problem with the edges of the wheel. So I prefer to use that one. And I can start with a low pressure and work my way. And if I want to go a little further, I can force it even a little bit more. And I'm using a low pressure, so I'm not actually stretching it much at all. So I think it is pretty close there. So now I'm a little past that blue line where I saw the problem was. So now I'm going to run it from here and follow that line there. So I think that's all I need to do there now. A few lines, I will see that, but I said, you know, I can go with a flap disc. I can probably go a little more pressure just where the lines are. There you go. So let's go back to the bead roller now and see if I can run that and make it correct. So I'm over to the bead roller now, and I set this pressure now so I have one more turn to go. And I think that is better than just going full depth the first run now when I'm restoring this. I need to be very focused here now and pay attention to the lines, what I'm doing. I follow the lines, so that is good. Now I turn this up, and then I turn this down to full depth. I think it's one more turn. So I think it's a little easier to follow now. So there you can see now what it looks like. And you can barely see a little start and stop there. I think I used a little too much pressure there from the beginning, but I can fix that with a hammer and a dolly from the backside. So let's take a look at the template now and see what the template says. So now I have this over at the table, and I'm going to hold this template up to the top of the bead there. And you see now that it's much closer than it was before. And I think it's so close now so I could actually use it. That means that it will, after I bend this in, then it should be, you never know, but it should be very close to the windshield, I would say the door window frame. But I can show you now how to bend this flange in, and I can do that with 2 flat dies in the bead roller. So let me show you that as well. So here you can see the setup. I'm using the flat one, wide one on the bottom, and a narrow flat one on the top. And I'm going to just run that flange between there and bend the piece there. I don't want to have too much pressure, so I'm stretching it too much. If I want to stretch it, then it will be only in the beginning and in the end of that panel. So let's run this so you can see what it looks like. So I need to have the camera there so I can stay on this side. And I'm going to run the die there in that corner, and I'm bending this down. Once I get to the straight line here, then I can be very consistent with the bend. So I bend at the same angle each time. So it's not difficult to do. The wider flange it is, the more difficult it will be. So I prefer to have maybe a 3/4 to 1/2 inch flange. This flange is a little wider here in the beginning because I moved this bead up, so the flange is not parallel to the bead. You see how far in I can go now to bend it in under the bead roller. But the bead roller will not do it all the way as I want, so here it needs some hammer and dolly work. Let's do one more time. So I go a little past that groove now, so I can actually flat that bend out a little bit more. And now I bend it so far in so I can't do more. So there you can see now what it looks like, but I prefer to have it even a little more. But to get that, I need to hammer and dolly that. Here you see an inner curve. Here I need to go with a deep stretcher and stretch that to get it more straight. But I'm not going to show you that now, but just so you know. So let's take a little look at this on the table. So here is a close-up of that bead that I changed. I changed it about 5/16, 1/4 inch to 5/16. So you can see that little line here. That's all you can see now. But if I take a flap disc, I can easily grind that and smooth that out, and you will not see it. So this is a great idea, and I haven't. A few times maybe I have thought about to redo it. But in the step 2 classes now, when we're making the 32-3 window coupe, that was very fun thing for me to learn more to fix it instead of throwing the piece away. So I hope this will be helpful for you. So that's what I had for this video. I hope you learned from it, and I'm sure that if you apply that to what you do, you're never defeated until you throw the piece away. And then, you know, if you don't have anything to lose, so why don't see if you can't fix it? If you can't fix it, then at least you know that wasn't the way to do, so then you need to do something else before, so you're prepared. If you like my video, subscribe here for more videos, and it will be more in the future here now, because I have more to film from the step 2 classes, and that's where I'm learning more than step 1 classes. So it's really fun, and the learning is the key to stay on track, be motivated and inspired, because when you learn something new, it's very, very fun. And Albert Einstein, he said that when you stop learning, you start dying. And Gene Winfield, he's 96 in 16th of June this year as Father's Day at the LA Roadster Show. And he always tells me that every day is a school day, and it is. So the more we learn, the more we can gain, and the more fun we can have, and the more knowledge we have, the more we can do. So keep learning, and if you want more information about my classes and you would like to come and do a step 1 or step 2 class, check my schedule on www.lazzemetalshaping.com. Thank you for watching and have a wonderful day. See you next time.